packet. And that's what
All right, and we're back from we're back.
All right, so what we're going to talk about is ICOs, which I just gave the definition of it. It means that crowdfunding the release of a new cryptocurrency. Generally, tokens for the new cryptocurrency is sold to raise money for technical development before the cryptocurrency is released. Unlike an initial public offering, acquisition of the tokens does not grant ownership in the company developing the new cryptocurrency. And unlike an IPO, there's literal no government regulation of an ICO.
Okay, so, now as a token, is that like
any of your altcoins? You know the altcoins.
A Bitcoin, a Litecoin,
a Litecoin,
an Ethereum.
An Ethereum, but what we're talking about here is when usually an ICO, they'll have their own token. They'll tell you in the ICO. The initial coin offering is just like an IPO, right? So if you're buying, like a recent IPO was Snapchat. So Snapchat came out, and you bought shares of Snap. And then it gives a little designator. S&P is what the little stock ticker is, right? It's the same thing with these tokens, but you're not buying a share of the company. They'll give you a token that kind of matches the name. Like, let's say the ICO that came out today was called Bancor, and the tokens were, I think, BNC, or they're banker tokens.
Okay, now you said give them away. Are they giving them away?
No, they're not giving it. You buy into the company,
so I'm putting
but they give you tokens.
I'm taking $100 real cash, and I'm giving it to the
banker company,
and then they're going to give me some number of these
coins,
tokens, these coins, these altcoins.
Yes,
in return.
Yes, these alternate coins, but like they say, it's not ownership of the company. But in the discussion in the ICO, they'll describe why this coin will gain money for investment purposes or how you can use it. So we'll go into. I'm just explaining what the ICO is. The ICO gives a token. So now you have all these different tokens out.
Yes. Okay.
So at this point now, there's probably, on these major trading tickers where you can trade these coins just like in stock trading, there's two, maybe, I'm not positive on the exact number, but there's at least 50, 60, 70 different types of tokens. But they're tokens for companies. If you can think about them as shares for the company, that's what they technically are without ownership.
Okay.
So you're kind of buying in, is this company actual? Is it going to be a good company? Is it going to be feasible? Is it going to be profitable? If it's profitable, your tokens are profitable.
Okay, now you said that this was unregulated?
Yeah, that's the part. No regulation.
So
you can lose all your money.
Yes, and when I'm handing my greenbacks over to
and none of them take greenbacks. They'll take Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Okay, but okay, they don't take dollars?
Nope.
I'll be darned.
Because they like Ethereum and Bitcoin. They like them.
Oh, okay. So what I would have to do is, if I wanted something, I'd have to take my greenbacks and buy some Ethereum and then use that to
invest in their company.
To buy these tokens.
Yes, but you're investing in their company. So like today, the Bancor company, their ICO went off today. It raised, I think we're somewhere in the area of $70 million in 3 hours. In cryptocurrency.
70 million?
Yeah. Their plan is to be able to. They have a couple plans they had going on, but this is what we'll continue to go on. We'll just not talk about one in particular. We're just talking about
you can talk about Bancor.
We will.
Yeah, okay, good.
But picking an ICO. So that's the next page. So when you're looking at an ICO, it's just like Kickstarter. I don't know if anyone's heard of Kickstarter.
I have.
Kickstarter is, you heard of it. Kickstarter is like a project you're funding before the project has been completed all the way. And they have timelines and they have goals. So when you look at their project, they'll show you Q1 of 2017, Q2, Q3, Q4. And it has a mandate where they should be during that quarter of their company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all
have. Okay, yeah.
So you know their plan.
Okay.
So you look at all the quarters, and then that's what the ICO's plan for the future is. You give them a certain amount, they give you a certain amount of tokens. Those tokens will get monetary value through different applications, and all ICOs are different how they do it, and I'll explain how you do it. The key goal for every ICO participant is to help fund a project that they personally consider interesting and appealing. However, there's an additional opportunity to make a profit in the process. So when you look at the profit, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the white paper. So the white paper is a written paper, and what it would be close to would be a business plan.
Yeah.
If you've written a business plan, then, or you've seen a business plan, the white paper is a business plan. You can read through the whole business plan.
Right.
They publish it. So things you need to look for if you're looking at scams. Some of these ICOs are scams, and most people will tell you that they're scams before you even get to them. But they will.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
if everybody knows about them, yeah.
Yeah. They'll have a white paper, so you'll be able to read the white paper and understand the business plan. Potential for scam, pump and dump. So that's also what you need to be on the eye for when you're looking at ICOs.
Mm-hmm.
Are other people saying this looks like a big scam, and not just a scam in their eyes, saying, because there's a lot of this FUD, or where they talk down other ICOs, but then they get funded in like 30 minutes. But everybody on Reddit is talking bad about them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of stuff you got to look through. You also need to know when the tokens will be received. That's kind of a big deal, because if you own Ethereum now, and it's worth $390, and you're receiving this token in a year, maybe Ethereum is worth $1,000 at that point, or a year and a half. Maybe it's worth $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to take that into account. If I'm going to pay $300 and I'm receiving 100 tokens,
right?
Roughly, my token cost me $3.30. But if I'm receiving these in a year, maybe I'm actually paying $1,000 for 100 tokens, which makes each token about $10 a token.
So just to clarify what he's saying about that is, every time you buy an ICO, you have to give them Ethereum in order to get the ICO, and then you'll get your ICO, let's say, in a year. So you can cash out in a year. Sometimes you can cash out in a month, but other times it's a year. So effectively what you're doing is you're either having an ICO for a year, or you're having Ethereum for a year. So therefore, whenever you buy an ICO, you want to make sure that it will outpace the growth of Ethereum. If Ethereum outpaces the ICO, then you, like he was saying before, you ended up spending more money than you effectively
didn't make
spent more money.
Yeah. So the ICO, like the ICOs that are coming out, the next one that comes out tomorrow, they're coming out very rapidly. This is why you always got to watch and understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look at them. You just read the papers and understand their business plan. The next business plan really is to run ICOs. That's what this one coming out is. It's to help run ICOs. So you got to understand, when are your tokens going to be received? The one that ran today, people received their tokens immediately, which is a positive thing for you, because then you can see how much they're valued. Like you can immediately...
Oh, the Bancor?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can immediately gain the tokens, and you paid effectively $337 for your tokens. If you want to cash out, you can cash out immediately once they're traded. You can hold on to them. My advice is that when you do an ICO, I always try to pick ones that I want to keep and not just cash out immediately, because it's a lot of times that's a big gamble on being able to cash them out quickly, you know? But if you really do believe in their business plan, then yes, you keep them and hold them.
Okay, and also let me say with that, so the idea with these ICOs is that you're getting some kind of a discount, and therefore you get a big return with it, type of thing. Even though it's not an investment, of course. But in either case, so an ICO where you can sell it immediately or whatever, then that ICO needs to be about done. So their white paper sort of needs to be quite small. So a lot of the ICOs you're seeing right now are very, very niche. One of them will be, for example, just taking Bitcoin's programming and say, rather than offer it to the public, we will only offer it to the banks. And I believe that's Ripple, but I could be wrong. But
yeah, that's a Ripple.
Is that Ripple?
Yeah, it's a Ripple one.
So that's one of them. And
that one's already over.
Yeah, that's already over. But there's essentially no programming required. It was only like, you could call it a number change or a use change. Just take Bitcoin, give it to banks. And then there's other ICOs where there's a lot of programming involved, which
was the Bancor app, it's going to be an app. If you can look at the quarters, they're going to make an app where you can trade coins on there, real easily, and you trade from one coin, and it's called the Bancor coin. So you get one coin, Bancor coin, And whatever that's worth, it could be worth Ethereum or Bitcoin. It could be worth 1/10 of a Bitcoin, or it could be worth 1 Ethereum. And you could trade them back and forth. And then as you use it, you can trade it in the communities and spend it in the communities as you wish. But it was a very, very large scale app, and we'll see how it turns out. If it exists the way their business plan looks, their business plan looks amazing. Like, hey, that's amazing. You're going to have an app where I can easily trade using one single coin where I can trade back and forth to that coin, which makes your money very, very liquid. If you've used Coinbase, you know how that works, right? Coinbase, it takes a few days to get your money back. It takes a few days to get there. This one essentially says you have a Bancor coin. I can turn it into fiat or greenbacks very quickly on the apps, and I can turn it into Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I can walk around with my Ethereum account and change some to cash real quick and then pay, and then change it back. That sounds amazing, right? But I don't know how many hangups are going to come in this, and how long is it going to take, and who knows, right? But if it's possible, it's possible. Yeah. Because what they said is they're going to have a big reserve of Ethereum and Bitcoin and cash all ready for you to exchange and do whatever you want with. What could happen is they have all the coins, and then everyone just changes it back into Ethereum and makes a little bit of profit, and now they have no reserve, and the Bancor coins are worthless.
And how do you know that they aren't going to disappear to Afghanistan?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know.
So disappear to Afghanistan. Let's talk about that.
I'm not saying it disappear that way, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah. So dealing with that, I'll briefly cover this, and I'll cover it in more detail later. But so when you buy these so the blockchains that are established, the owners sort of can't disappear because the code's already out there. The code works, and the only thing that you can do to mess it up or whatever is just the people who own the coins, whatever the system is. So an example of that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you could call it an ICO or whatever, but its initial coins are already out, and then Bitcoin's established. It really can't be changed. The only way you can change it is through the forking process. But dealing with, when you're talking about a development project, which Ethereum is a good example of a development project, you're really hoping that 1 or 2 people continue working on the project, or managers you could say, but 1 or 2 people keep working on the project to make sure that it gets completed. And only when the project is completed do you really maximize your value.
Yeah.
So in terms of going off to Afghanistan, we have to worry about Vitalik and some others going off to Afghanistan for Ethereum, because if they did, it would mess everything up. But for Bitcoin, they don't have anything to worry about.
Bitcoin doesn't have anything to worry about because they're already done and complete.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about a hard fork is this whole thing's an accounting ledger. So it's a public accounting ledger.
Yeah.
I'm saying I have 100 Bitcoins, and you can look that up on the accounting ledger. You can look at my wallet, the 20 number, your Coinbase wallet. I can look up your wallet in the computer, and it will tell me how much Ethereum, how much Bitcoin you have. If I look at your wallet, I can't get into them. But the only way I can look at your stuff is if I know your wallet address. That's the only way. It's not that I can type in your name. I'm going to steal a little bit of coffee. Not by typing your name, by looking at your wallet address. Okay. And it takes it's impossible to really find somebody's wallet address. Oops. It's not anonymous, and what I mean impossible, it means you could find it if you looked at their IP address and then what wallets they're using and what sites they're going to, and then you can grab their wallets together and find out who they are. But in general, you can't do anything, and these are built on the back of Ethereum. That's the whole point of these ICOs. These ICOs, I would just consider them to be a company. If you can think of a company like Amazon, that's it. Amazon said this when they wrote their white paper, said, we're going to deliver goods over the internet, and we're going to sell them. We're going to give you Amazon shares if you believe us, and we'll build up. It's the same thing. The only thing about these shares when you buy them, tokens are relatively shares, you don't actually get ownership of the company.
Right.
So even if you own 80%, you couldn't come in there and say, hey, we own the company now. We're going to vote this way where I'm on the board now. You don't get any of that. So you could literally buy 51% of the token, but you still don't own it. You still are going to get profits from the company, but you don't own it.
I don't know how you get.
Well, you know how shares are like 50 or 60%.
Yeah.
And now I'm owning it.
Yeah.
I majority own it. I can push you out. Even if I own 51% of the tokens, I couldn't push the CEOs or the people who run the company out of the company. I couldn't go run and vote for people out. That's why they're saying you don't have ownership. But I consider them to be almost just like stocks.
Yeah.
The better the company does, the more technology people like about the company, the more the developers work, the higher the stock. Most of these ICO people, they get paid up front, a little bit of cash, not a ton, but like $200,000-300,000, which is a lot to us. But they've been working. Some of these people have been working on these projects for nothing for 3-4 years. So some of them. Some of them are just startup. Hey, we're going to take 10% of all the money we raise, which is in a 70 million would be 7 million. We're going to split it amongst our 12 people. We're all millionaires, right? And then they run off and they don't do what they say they're going to do. That's what you worry about. Not that your tokens will go off to Afghanistan. So how many tokens and what price? So usually the ICOs, the reason you want to get involved early sometimes is you get an additional 10 or 15% bonus tokens, or 10% to 15% shares, basically in the company for putting in earlier. So here are the kind of 8 ICO principles, and this is what I kind of look at. Does it solve a problem that exists, and is it different than other things that are already out there? Right? Does it solve a problem? Does Bancor solve a problem with liquidity, right? I told you about how you can change your money real fast and then get cash, and they have big banks of reserves so you can get your money. It does solve a problem. I agree. So I liked it so far. How many developers are on the team? 1, 5, or 12? You know, you're looking to see how many developers are there. Not how many CEOs and how many financial analysts, because you can look at the whole team. And the more developers there are and they're on the team, the better you're off, because if it's one guy and he leaves, you know.
In terms of developers, this is referring to programmers.
Yeah.
The main, if you want to think about a difference between developer and programmer, you can think of developer as the design or the architect, and you can think of the programmers as the construction workers or the builders.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of interchangeable, but all the same for cryptocurrency, they'll kind of say that the initial thought is from the developer.
Yeah, the developers, and then there'll be people underneath them, and then you can kind of look into them, and some of them are well known. Okay.
Yeah.
And then wide adoption or not? Will this get widely adopted or not? Is what I'm looking at. Like some of these ICOs you look at are just like betting in inside video game cryptocurrencies where you can pay cryptocurrencies to get money in video games.
Yeah.
Don't know how widespread that's going to go, right? It's about video game money, right? I don't know how many people are going to invest in that or not. The next is, does it seem feasible? Like, this is the only thing I had a problem with Bancor, was I did not see it being feasible within 1 year to be able to switch your money out real fast.
Yeah.
To go into different areas. And they also, I didn't explain that also, but they also want other people, like every city, to have their own money, their own tokens.
Right.
It's getting a little bit, to me, a little bit out of reality in a minute. Like Knoxville would have its own token. It would be like Knoxvillian token. And you would change your money into Knoxville money when you went into Knoxville and spend it there. And then when you come out of Knoxville, you get your Bancor tokens back. You know, you change whatever you have left in Knoxville money back to Bancor tokens, and then Bancor tokens back to money, or back to Ethereum or Bitcoin, whatever you want. So it's just a big money change system where you can get. But I don't think it's going to work very well. How quickly are tokens dispersed? This Bancor, like just as an example, this one is a very good one because they get dispersed immediately. That's what you like to see. You like to have the tokens as quick as possible. It's not always that way. Sometimes it's a year away, 6 months, 5 months. But the sooner the better in kind of terms. If you really believe in the project, it really doesn't matter. If you're kind of iffy and you're wondering about it, I would always look on seeing what tokens. And then there's a kind of goal, are you going long-term or versus short-term? Short-term is, can I resell these tokens to make more Ethereum than I put in? And this is a dangerous game. This is the dangerous game that I don't think people should play, but some people do.
Yeah.
You might spend 1 or 2 ETH just to see if you can make 10 Ethereum off selling the tokens.
I'm not sure I follow this.
Well, you can if the tokens come to you and they're valued more on the trade for what you spent, you made money real fast.
Right.
And that's the short term. But that's dangerous. You can buy a bunch and then they're valued less and you lost money.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
Well, and then another thing is
the long term deal is that if you buy a certain ICO, you may stay in it for the long term. Like instead of it being like I bought the coins at $3 a coin and it went up to $3.50 and I sell them all and I made 50 cents off every coin, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
You could also, if you really believe in the company, hold it for the long term. So you're not playing this game because crypto coins go up and down like waves. If you haven't seen that. So it's hard to know when to sell and when to buy.
Well, okay, and then also in terms of long-term, short-term, you can kind of think about not your time horizon. You don't want to think of what's my time horizon. You want to think of when is this company's time horizon. So let's just call it finished product is the best time to sell. Selling something that's halfway complete is worth a lot less. Than finished
if they do really well, that's what I'm saying. But if this company meets all their goals and gets up to the finished product, your coin will be worth more. But if you sell it at the halfway point and they're meeting their goals, and you sell at the halfway point and then they don't meet any of their goals after that, you sold at the right time.
But
you can never know.
So situations like that can apply. So so Bancor's finished product or their effective finished product was quite early.
They gave you the coins because that gives you an initiative to buy and sell because all people are going to do until they finish their product is speculate. Buy, sell, new coins.
And Ethereum's sort of like halfway through their product or whatever you could say, but their expected finished product is like a year, 2 years from now. And so
it's still speculation.
It's still speculation. Like you never know if they're actually going to finish. But if you assume that they're going to finish, then waiting a year or 2 from now is probably more likely a better time to sell than a halfway built house, unless they totally screw up or they flee the country. Sometime between now and a year or 2 from now.
And the next one is always for scam. Look for contact information. Look at the development team. Look how they're outreaching in the community. They're talking to people. A lot of the scams won't really have any information.
Yeah.
They won't have any contact information. They won't have it to reach. People won't be talking about it. They won't be on YouTube doing the interviews.
Right.
If it's a reasonable company, they're trying to get their name out, doing interviews with people.
So when you're looking for scams and stuff, do they have a spokesperson or is the developer doing the talking?
Yeah.
If the developer is doing the talking, then it's more likely to be accurate. And then likewise, the developer is personally committing himself to the words that are being spoken. If it's a spokesperson doing the talking, then that guy could be a professional liar, just moving from company to company.
Yeah.
He could have no history with the company, and he could just be saying things that are just accidentally not true because he's just not intelligent enough to know the difference between truth and falsehood. So in contact information, development team outreach. So in terms of Ethereum, one reason I got on board with that one is Vitalik. He's very active in the community. But anyways, moving on.
Research. Do your own. Don't rely on posts on Reddit or YouTube. I mean, if you get on Reddit and look at some of this stuff, you'll have no idea what's going on. You'll think everything's a scam and everything's going to hell.
I was going to talk about one other thing with disbursement of tokens in these ICOs. The biggest issue, more or less, what I would say, essentially the number one thing that you would want to know about in terms of an ICO, as far as disbursement of tokens, is what is their reserve. So when Bitcoin dispersed, it dispersed fairly evenly. Everyone who ran the Bitcoin computer got a couple of Bitcoins, and this is how Bitcoin essentially dispersed their coins.
Well, they're talking about how decentralized is it, and that's another point, and how much reserve they have. Like, how much do they keep in their bank to say, hey, this company, this coin we're giving you is worth it, it's backed. It's backed by Ethereum or Bitcoin. So if it's like 100 million is backed by your Ethereum, and they give you, 90 million coins, you know what I'm saying? or I'm saying they hold on to 20 or 30 million Ethereum, right, worth dollars, and then they issue out 90 million, right? The lowest your token could ever be if they back it would be at that. Well, that's how I feel it would go. The lowest your coin could go is as long as it's backed by $30 million worth of Ethereum, they give out 90 million coins. You know, the lowest your coin could be would be $3, roughly in that easy math.
So
each coin would be $3.
So in terms of
I bought it for $3.60, but it can only go to $3, so I can't lose all my money.
So in terms of the disbursements, with almost every blockchain, virtually every single one, but not every one, but most of them. All disbursements are going to be through the system. So in Bitcoin, they give it to the people running the computers. In Ethereum, currently, they give it to the people running through the computers. Ethereum eventually is going to go to proof of stake, where they give it to the people who are holding the Ethereum.
And that's what Eternity does.
But that's the that's the bonus system, or the disbursement of coins. What does not happen is at no point in time can the owners say, or they should not be allowed. The owners are never allowed to say 10,000 more coins or 1 million more coins. All new coins have to follow that computer code system. So in the initial disbursements, what is very common today is that they will have 1 million coins available or 10 million coins available. They will put up for auction, or they'll put up for sale, let's just say 500 coins, and then they will hold on to the other 999,000 coins. So in a situation like that,
you don't have any power, is what we're saying.
Well,
they liquidate all their coins.
Yes. So if the management team is holding on to, like, let's say more than 50% of the available coins, then they could influence the market greatly just by selling all their coins without telling you.
Yeah.
Now, if the management team does not hold on to any coins, then there's not really an incentive to finish and develop and make the product all the way, because they won't get as much money. So you kind of want them, I'm not going to say what's the best percent, but you might think in terms of between 50 and 25%. We
would like them to hold their own stock, at least 25% of their own stock, so they're saying we'll finish this project and our stock's worth money.
Right.
Because if they don't finish their project, their stock's not worth money, and they took money at the beginning, because they usually take money at the beginning, like 10%, to pay themselves for the whole point. So now you got 90%. So if they take 30% and they hold it in the company, and then all you have left is 60%. So maybe they take 30% of that and use it to grow the company.
Yeah.
So now you've got them holding 30%, the public holding 30%, and 30% was spent to build the company.
Yeah.
Like grow it.
Yeah, but you follow that about the disbursement?
So they at least have some stake in it. Like, they paid themselves a lot in these coins, so they want to see it. They want to finish their project. Because they finish their project, they'll become millionaires. If they don't, then maybe they made $400,000 or $500,000 at the very beginning, and they made a lot of money. But a lot of these people, you got to look at how much is dispersed where. So we'll see that.
I'm struggling with something here.
Yeah, what's up?
The whole concept of go back to
the ICOs.
The business purpose.
Yeah.
Of, and it kind of gets to that very first thing on your 8 ICO principles.
Yeah.
Does it solve a problem that exists?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand, what is the purpose?
The purpose is just like when we started talking about companies and we're talking about a problem that exists, is let's just think about companies that came out recently.
Well, what does Bitcoin solve?
We're not talking about, these are the ICOs.
I know, but the ICOs are just like Bitcoin.
But not
okay, fine.
I don't agree with that. A lot of them are just companies. What do they solve? Okay, well,
give me an example.
Here's a company that's coming out tomorrow. This is the problem they solve.
This is the bank core or whatever.
No, this new one. This one is called the FundMe ICO. So what did they do? Well, the problem is to solve is, well, do I trust ICOs coming out meeting their milestones?
Right.
Well, what if they don't meet their milestones and I've given them all my money? Well, this company, what they're going to do is, if you have an ICO, they're going to put it up. You're going to run the ICO through this company. And what they're going to do is, every time the company meets a milestone, they're going to escrow all our money. Like we give them $70 million, right?
Okay.
They're going to escrow our money. So they're going to write up all their milestones on their business plan. So if they meet all their milestones in phase 1, then we give them $40 million. Mm-hmm. If they meet all their milestones in phase 2, we give them $30 million, right? And then the last, if they finish all of them, we give them their last $20 million.
So this is the, what do you call it again? Start?
Yeah, this is Fund Me ICO.
Okay, this Fund Me ICO.
So what problem does it solve? It solves the problem of ICOs starting up, getting a lot of money right at the beginning, and then saying fuck it and not finishing their projects.
Yes.
Okay.
So this gives the backer some insurance to say, hey, we're going to give you $80 million, but you have to meet your milestones to get your money. If you meet milestone 1, you get 20. If you meet milestone 2, you get another 20. So what does it solve? It solves ICOs from starting up and not being able to finish anything and losing all the people's money.
Yeah.
Right? You see how that solves the problem? Because right now there's no regulation, no nothing.
Right.
So this company is saying, hey, we're going to solve this problem without having the government come in and make all these regulations on this.
Okay, that's one example. Give me, what is Ethereum? What's the problem that Ethereum solves?
Want me to do that one quickly?
Yeah, you can talk about it.
I'll just do that one quickly, but
make some more coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'll have to. Anyways, you see how to do it. It's a reusable filter, but so Bitcoin essentially deals with currency transactions only, more or less. And Ethereum deals with programming transactions. So a good example of one that came up in European news, but not in American news, which was something called WannaCry. And so in this system, the WannaCry interrupted, disrupted, took control of either the central database for all hospital information, or it interrupted it, or it took control of the client-side computers, the nurses trying to access it. So this WannaCry blocked all hospitals from getting their money, their information, and hackers demanded money in order to allow hospitals to continue servicing and saving patient lives. Now, a disadvantage of using that system of the hospital is that they're reliant upon essentially the good faith of the public to never try to extort them. Now, with Ethereum, there is no way to break it and make it not accessible, essentially. So just like Bitcoin makes your currency, you can't destroy Bitcoin numbers, you can't destroy somebody's Bitcoin dollars, you can't confiscate someone's Bitcoin money or Bitcoin dollars unless you have that guy's password or whatever. But in terms of Ethereum, you can't stop a program, or you can't hinder a program from being accessed so long as someone has the Ethereum. And it's there forever, and you can never corrupt it. You can't destroy historical data or change historical data. That's just a basic example of what Ethereum could do.
So this
there's like a few things Ethereum does, but he's one of them. It can stop cyber attacks on people's system, because it actually costs money to do it. So if you attack their system over and over and over, there's one cyber attacker who attacked one of the Ethereum system, and it cost him $60,000 because every time he has to do an attack, it costs him gas, and the computer program's running over and over, attacking over and over. So it cost him a few cents every attack.
Yeah.
But since the computer's attacking thousands of times a second,
it runs up.
It runs up real fast.
That meter is spinning.
Yes, that's what the meter is spinning. So that's how it prevents. That's how it can prevent a computer attacks. That it actually costs gas. So if you're really going to do these attacks, it may cost you a lot of money to do it. So some guy sitting in the basement is probably not going to do some attack that costs $60,000 over like 2 or 3 minutes. That's how much that attack would cost. The other thing is that it can do smart contracts, and we talked about that. Smart contract is just basically person A does B job for company C, and what you do is, instead of having the money held in escrow and all this other things, you know how, like, if you've ever bid on government buildings or bid for a job, sometimes you have to escrow money away to say that this person's going to pay you. So it's basically trust. You have to escrow it because we don't trust each other. Well, the computer says, I'll hold the money. Once job B is complete, I will pay the money to person A. So it takes all the middleman out, and it's a program that does it for you.
Yeah.
It's called a smart contract.
Yeah.
So once B job is complete, C bank pays A person for a job.
And that's built, and that's part of what
Ethereum is, the smart contracts. Yeah, that's the biggest part. There really isn't a lot of smart contracts going on. There's only like maybe 10 or 12 kind of versions. But that's the development part. That's what everyone sees as like one of the bigger things that can go on. But it's still in infancy. Bitcoin in itself is straight up currency held for money. So I don't think holding Bitcoin is ever a bad idea. I would always hold some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. Like I've even told Keller, I think once the Ethereum price kind of gets in the area, like now maybe, it's like 8 Ethereum for a Bitcoin. And holding some Bitcoin I still view as good. Yeah. Because Bitcoin is a currency. And we're going to talk about why I would get rid of some of the Ethereum in a little bit.
Okay. Well,
we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll address the Bitcoin issue. So the main thing between Bitcoin and Ethereum is I like to think about it in terms of Ethereum as an investment and Bitcoin more for stability.
It's a commodity. Like,
or
it's a
more
straight
as a commodity.
gold. Yeah, like a gold piece of gold.
Essentially, all Bitcoin has been distributed.
Yeah.
There is no one really holding on to a secret stash of super lot of Bitcoin other than Satoshi, who's nobody's heard from this guy forever. He's the inventor of Bitcoin, and he has a couple of billion or $1 billion in Bitcoins at this point. But that guy disappeared from the face of the planet 10 years ago, more or less, as soon as he got done, and nobody's heard from him since.
Yeah, that's weird. But we're not talking.
Well, it's so. But like Bitcoin's all out there and it's all done, whereas Ethereum won't be done for a year or two, and the owners still are holding on to a lot of Ethereum. So the value of Ethereum is not as high as it could be because it's not completed. And secondly, the owners could reduce the value if they needed either if they were just being weird about it or if they need money for development purpose. So you will see regular reductions of Ethereum value essentially for development purposes.
When they just cash out some of theirs.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. They'll cash out.
The company, all their money's kept in Ethereum.
Yeah. So what we're saying, they may cash out to develop further.
Right.
Which makes and that's what these
it gets
ICOs
into a circle.
Yeah. So then when they cash out to make it better, then maybe the price goes up.
Yeah.
The price goes down and then it goes up because now it's a better.
Right.
Cool. But what we're talking about...
actually, let me throw one thing into that in terms of day trading or currency trading.
Yeah.
So for that reason, when you're buying Ethereum or whatever in particular, it is quite good to be aware of the business cycle. For example, Ethereum, the price went down significantly after their management team announced that they were going to double their operational size or increase their hires quite a lot. The management team said that we're about to spend, let's just call it $1 million.
Yeah.
We're about to spend $1 million, and then all of a sudden, Ethereum dropped quite a lot.
Yeah.
So you can see a correlation there. Also, you'll kind of see that the business people on Monday and Tuesday, they seem to look at the price, sell what they need for that week or whatever you might say, and then maybe they like rebuy it on Friday. But you'll kind of see that people tend to sell lots of Ethereum or Bitcoins on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then they kind of rebuy it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll see this little pattern going on.
Okay.
But what we're talking about is these ICOs will also liquidate Ethereum, which may drive the price down when they liquidate. And a lot of them can liquidate.
In a year. There's rules.
There's rules. There's always a year, year and a half, 2 years. But but my whole thing on this is there's a lot of ICOs right now. So that means in a year, Ethereum may drop price in a year. I would say from this point on, there's a lot of ICOs.
Right.
So they may be liquidating their Ethereum. But I still don't think it'll ever be worth zero.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It gets to a price point people start buying a shit ton. So if it drops in price, people buy it. Why? Because everyone wants to use it as a program and as a currency to do things. Because it's not considered a currency. That's why I'm saying if you're ever thinking about it, I would also buy Ethereum and also buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a very, I think it's a very good buy.
Tell us about Bittrex or Poloniex.
These are the trading ones. So if you're into alt currencies, you can log into Bittrex or Poloniex.
You can't do it on Coinbase.
What?
You can't do it on Coinbase.
Yeah, yeah, you can. You can send your money through Coinbase.
Whoa, okay, go
ahead.
ahead.
You can't do altcoins on Coinbase. There's only one altcoin. You can send your money to Bittrex or Poloniex. I just showed you what the icon looks like just to make sure you're at the right site.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. I like it. I like it a lot.
And when you go there, you just, before you know you're on the right site, log in, sign in, maybe send yourself a very, very small amount of money. A couple dollars.
Yeah.
And it should roll over to your wallets over here. And then when you get on these, this is when you can name your price.
So are these wallets?
They have wallets on them for you. So as soon as you log in, it generates you like 15 wallets for different coins.
Okay, so just to be clear on that,
you can generate a wallet anytime.
Yeah.
So anytime you log in, this software generates you a wallet.
Now, this in Coinbase as well?
No, these are not in Coinbase.
No. These are totally different exchanges, like a whole thing just like Coinbase. You go to their website, you log in, and then it generates you wallets over there.
So these are like Coinbase, but different ones?
Yeah.
Yes. But you can trade all those random coins.
So just to explain how that works is, so for me to interact with the Ethereum system, then I have to have a computer program that allows me to do it. So my portion of the computer program is essentially called my wallet. So each coin has to have, unless it's through Ethereum, but each coin has to have its own wallet or it's through Ethereum. But so like Coinbase, which is one of the most common trading platforms, they give you a wallet automatically, or they set one up.
Yeah, as soon as you log in, there's a computer program that generates you a wallet.
So they give you one for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, but only those three. Yeah. There are, let's just call it 20, maybe 40.
It's like 100.
100 and something freaking altcoins, and to get all of the access to trade all 100 or whatever, then you need like a Bittrex or a Poloniex or whatever the case.
Just account. You
need something else. Not Coinbase.
The only reason you might do this is if you just want to mess around. Maybe you buy let's just say you want to mess around with now 10 Ethereum is worth a lot of money, so I'm not going to say 10 Ethereum.
Right. We used to just mess around with 10 Ethereum. $1,000 is the way we said it.
$1,000. But now 10 Ethereum is like $4,000. So we're not going to mess around with $4,000 over here. You may spend maybe get $1,000 worth of Ethereum and put it on Poloniex or something. Yeah. And you can buy penny ones like Ripple, which is you can start researching into the other coins and see what they're used for, and you can buy them and sell them and have fun. Yeah. I consider it more of a fun thing.
Well, so yeah.
I'm not saying you'll make a lot of money there, but you could.
Yeah, there's basically two approaches, like the fun, doing the spread.
Yeah, just spreading out into all coins.
Yeah, more or less a low investment of time and money. And then the alternative approach, which is, it works better if you know it's going to work. But if you spend a lot of time and you find the one that's going to work really well, and then you
and that's what the meetings could be about. Is we could talk about some of the.
We might find that but if you find one that's going to work really well, you suspect, and you make a sizable investment into it, then you might have a humongous financial gain, rather than if you spread it around, you'll probably have a good financial gain just statistically, hopefully, whatever, but it won't be, let's call it life-changing. But if you find one that you have a lot of confidence in and invest a reasonable amount of money, you might have some kind of life-changing style of money.
Yeah, like Ripple is now like 30 cents a coin. 30 cents.
And what did it start? Less than a penny?
Yeah, less than a penny.
So Ripple's gone up about 30,000%.
Yeah.
30,000% gain in about a month.
Yeah, it's still at 30 cents a coin. So you could go on there and mess around with Ripple if you wanted to, or some other ones.
Like Bitcoin, if you're to predict a rate of return, 300% is probably a reasonable prediction of Bitcoin or something like that.
Over 10 years.
Well, but never 30,000%.
I know, but what I'm saying.
But Ethereum will have like Ethereum's had about 1,000% rate of return.
It's like 2,700.
2,700. Okay. My goodness, but it'll still never have 30,000%.
So what we're talking about is you can check these out if you want to or not. They're just kind of things you can look at and mess around with.
It's like an advanced level of blockchain.
Okay, just so I'm understanding something. What is this?
That's something on the
I'll go into that later.
Yeah, that's just like our little plan.
All right.
All right, and then backing ICOs. If we the other idea we had was this. This is what we were trying to. This is what I was trying to discuss with the members about backing ICO.
Yeah.
So I've learned. I'm not sure if I'm going to learn how to do this, Keller, but I can learn to set up a DAO. On the
you know how to set up a damn DAO?
No, the contract's already on there, and you can learn the language to switch it up, and then we vote. We
okay.
Do it our own DAO.
Okay.
It already has the
right.
program
Oh, great.
on there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Oh, okay. You figured that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So do you see what he's talking about?
No, he doesn't know what it is.
Okay. Well, I'll explain this briefly. What he's saying. So in terms of blockchain stuff, like what can blockchain do?
Yeah.
If us three wanted to form an investment club.
Yeah, that's what I was going to see. If we wanted to do.
If us three wanted to form an investment club, it would ultimately be reliant upon one person clicking invest. And one person would have the security code to withdraw all money if they wanted to, right?
Okay.
So just in the same sense that ICOs, you need to trust the developers with currency money. You need to trust the big people on top, whoever the hell they are. Nobody knows who they are. And then in terms of, so if you want to do a little investment club, you got to trust whoever the president is or the treasurer or something. These guys.
Yep.
But what we can do is set something up through Ethereum where it's automatic. Let's just say with the three of us, no money can leave unless all three agree.
We all have to go on our computer and put
in our password. We all have a secret password. Unless all three of us type it in, then no money can ever leave. Now the problem is, if you die and your password goes away,
that's the problem.
Then there's
a big problem. But
there's no way for us to get any of the money.
Yeah, usually you don't do that way. You do if there's 3 or 4 people, you do 2 signatures or 3 signatures.
And you make sure that everybody has a backup in case they pass.
Yeah.
You have to say my password is located here or my backup person is here.
A paper wallet. With
paper wallet, yeah. You just got to have some in saying
but
with
you
your
can do
Ethereum
2
wallets, always
signatures.
have a person backing you up.
Yeah. So what happens with this? If I can figure it out, we would all put Ethereum in, and then we would talk about an ICO, and then you would go on and vote yes or no, and then this computer program would say if we only had 3, which would be easy.
Yeah.
We could either set it to majority vote, which would be 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Or it could be set to 3 out of 3. It has to be consensus. Unanimous. If it's unanimous, then it automatically backs the ICO, and then we receive the tokens into the company.
Yeah.
And then you hold them, and that's not trading or selling.
Right.
But we all put some Ethereum in, and then we all vote. And when we vote consensus, we back things. If we don't, we don't. And then that's how you run your investment club, but it's all on a computer.
Yeah.
That's one of the things Ethereum can do. It is possible, and they have the contract codes on there.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it.
I just have to keep reading about it and looking at you only have to change a few codes into it, like how many people you got. And
if there's any young people listening to this right now,
are you on Mist right now, though?
I got the regular wallet. I sort of have Mist, but I've never got Mist to work. Right.
Okay. Then
we'll get that
how
to get Mist to work correctly.
So you just want to?
It's just a program. Just a program.
Actually, can you move those chips?
Yeah, sorry. It's just a program that runs these The program runs these. It runs these kind of contracts. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the DAO is, but we were going to talk about that in the future.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get. I'm getting other people involved next week about trying to get our investment club, and if we can get a DAO-like system, that's the best way.
That'd be super
then
cool.
Nobody has to. Nobody's liable. We all understand the rules.
Yeah.
We put it in the program. Like maybe we have 7 people in it, and maybe we say 5 votes, and we spend it. But we all put just a little money in, and that's it.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason we're doing this whole midnight discovery focus on Bitcoin, blockchain, Ethereum, etc. Is there's how much money you make on this is essentially dependent upon how smart you are and how smart are the people around you. Like, there's no way that any one person can look into every single ICO and become very informed about it in an appropriate way. But if we acquire a few different people and we each take turns hitting all the ICOs, then maybe we don't miss out on any money. Maybe. But if we go about it ourselves, then you end up like, let's just call it the casual consumer. And the casual consumer doesn't even invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and they miss out completely. Us, we're a little bit above them, you know, doing Bitcoin and Ethereum through the knowledge we've acquired and shared with each other. But with all these ICOs, it's too much for Patrick to do by himself.
So. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at these as ways that maybe, because basically what we're getting at, this is why it's called decentralized and why people like it, is because with an IPO, you come in after a company's already invested in their company and got the bonus shares, basically. They say, we'll give you $3 million, and then they kick you out. You know, we'll give you $3 million for 300,000 or 20% of your company, right? Just kind of like Sharks, whatever that show is called. Mm-hmm. They get 20%. As soon as they invest, they get 20% of all those stocks. And then when you get it, it's whatever the stock market values those stocks at, and you're paying $17 a share, and that company paid $5 a share, and then as soon as it opens at $17, it goes to $30. They're millionaires at this point. Mm-hmm. That company that already had a shitload of money now made millions of dollars. Yeah. They probably have to hold that stock for a couple of years, just like kind of what you have to do.
Right.
So then you hold it, and then they made all that money, and then you buying the IPO at $17, you know, it went to $20. You made $3 on every share. They bought it for $5. They made, you know, $15 every share, mm-hmm. and they own 300,000 of them. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the ICOs give us the ability to do, is get in on the ground level. That's why it's good if you find one. When we find one that we think is good and we all kind of concise on it, that's the company we want to invest in.
And about how many of these ICOs are there now?
They're coming out a lot now. I think they're coming out 15 to 20 a month.
Literally, 15, 20 a month, but there's at least 100 so far.
Yeah. But there's
more than people are aware of.
The ones that
the general
are good,
public just is not even aware of it.
People aren't aware of them. But a lot of them aren't good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about
it's
2 or 3.
It's a bit of a minefield.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 we're looking at that are like relatively good. Like some of them, like we said, are video game money.
We got lucky with We Trust.
Yeah, we did.
We Trust worked out. We Trust did We Trust had a 300% return in about a week.
Yeah, I did 40. I got 40 Ethereum out of it.
Yeah,
just investing in this one and selling it.
Yeah, so took 10, 12 Ethereum or whatever.
No, I did 5 Ethereum.
You did 5 Ethereum and you got 40 at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I did really half a Bitcoin, which is like
okay.
Right now would be 4 Ethereum.
Yeah. Okay. So like half a Bitcoin, which is 5 Ethereum, and I got 40 Ethereum.
43
after a week.
Well, after 43. I gave you 3.
Yeah.
43.
Appreciate it. 10%, you know, if you take the advice and profit, the typical tip to your little gnome who's whispering the secrets to you is 10%.
So that's our goal. Our goal is to find some of these. We've invested in one recently, Eternity. We won't receive the tokens for that until fiscal next year.
And again, that worked out good as a group because Patrick got the bonus money. He did it early. And then who came back like 2 months later, Patrick's like, I'll still give you the bonus. And I'm like, all right, I'll take some Eternity, and if it works out, I'll give him 10%. We'll see how it goes.
Lowers my risk.
But I got like 20% more coins.
Yeah.
So because I went through Patrick, who got the bonus, which you had to act real quick. Like Bancor, there might be a bonus today. I don't know.
No, it sold out in an hour.
Ah, God, I don't know how that fucking
I'm
going to
tell you the ICOs that are like really crazy, and I don't trust all this buying. It's like Shark Attack almost. Some of it's a little bit sketchy, okay?
Yeah.
But they sell out in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So you have to be like, I have timers for them, and I told Keller it's in 33 minutes.
Yeah,
today.
yeah, I know.
Like,
God
it's in
damn.
33 minutes.
You have to follow it. So if you want to be the initial investor, like the real initial,
some of them
the
just
initial
close.
coiner.
Some of them close.
Some of them close. Yeah. So if you want to be the initial coiner, you have to react really fast, and you have to follow it. You have to be on top of it. And some of the most profitable ICOs are the least advertised because the programmer is all wrapped up in making the program and not on marketing.
Well, yeah, there's some
if
that
there's
are
an
marketing,
ICO
but
that's
we're all
more
talking about
marketing heavy, then that ICO might not turn out as well.
Well, yeah. So we got one ICO coming down the chute that we're really interested in, and we'll see. And it's Tezos. And that's
Yeah,
whenever that one comes.
Maybe. All right.
I'm going heavy in that one, though.
Yeah.
You're not. But that's it. We're done.
Yeah, so
We're
that
done
was,
talking
well,
about today.
well, I might do a little bit something, but that was, we'll call that code 800.
Yeah.
Our section 80 of the blockchain syllabus.
Okay.
And I'll go over the blockchain syllabus. I know this is in reverse, and I'll do it more tomorrow for everybody who will be here tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'll just highlight some of this. The 1 through 10 are pretty much about just general talk about blockchain, just an outline of blockchain. 10 through 20 are dealing with what is the point of blockchain.
Or when you say 10 through 20?
Or 100 through 200, sorry.
That's okay.
100 through 200 is about what is the point of blockchain.
It's all cool. We don't have to go over single
yeah,
one. But this is just the
syllabus.
Well,
I'll do every 100 or every 10 points. I'll do the 10 points.
Okay.
And I'll say it briefly, though. But so in terms of preservation and cryptography, you're basically talking about, in terms of historical warfare, one of the best ways that you can defeat an enemy is by cutting off their supply lines. I forget what they call this attack, but in either case. So you run around the enemy, cut off the supply line, and then you get both sides of the enemy, both the supply side and then the soldier side. And the soldiers are all confused because they can't get in contact with their general. So then when you talk about currency, the U.S. or the banks of the U.S. constantly have to be in contact with Switzerland. If at any point anybody disrupts this contact, then the currency can become corrupted and lose its value. Okay. Blockchain is very protected against attacks of that sort. And then there's Tails and Tor. Tails and Tor is just a form of cryptography that's used for computing generally and web browsing. And then I got torrent and blockchain. Torrent files, a lot of people have used those. But torrents are where you download a movie and you share it peer-to-peer, and every peer gets a little bit of your movie, and you download a little bit of that movie or whatever the case may be. And then blockchain works quite similarly, or at least Bitcoin blockchain kind of works similarly. So one of the big differences between torrents and blockchain is I can corrupt a torrent by copying the key code and then putting out a fake torrent. So if I put out a fake torrent and I have the same key code, when someone comes to download it, since they download a little bit from everybody who has the key code, my torrent file at the end of the day will end up being corrupted. But in a blockchain system or the Bitcoin system, there's a code in place as to only download the key code from the people who have the most of the exact same key code. And nobody can fake this. Nobody has Bitcoin's valued at roughly $50 billion, and nobody's been able to break the Bitcoin key code yet. Then in 400, we'll talk about Bitcoin in particular, proof of work versus proof of stake, etc. 500 through 600, we'll talk about politics, tally sticks and lockbox system, barter system, gold, that kind of stuff. 600 through 700, the numbers have changed up a little bit. I changed my numbers a little. But 600 to 700, we'll talk about mining in AMD, the stock of AMD. So basically, if you look at the stock ticker of AMD, it's gone up a lot. And the...
Sorry.
No, that's right.
Go ahead.
And AMD essentially, in terms of the way that Bitcoin protects itself is proof of work, which means computers turning over a little number, and AMD makes the hardware required to do the Bitcoin computers, and the hardware manufacturer their stock value has gone up a whole lot. I'm not going to say it's because of Bitcoin. It could be for a variety of reasons, but it's gone up in tandem with Bitcoin to some degree. Likewise, the Bitcoin, they pay a bonus in terms of the new distribution of coins, like Patrick was talking about. In terms of a regular stock, the chairman, the board of directors, and the CEO, etc., they can sort of get together and issue more shares of stock, devaluing your stock. In most of your blockchain technology, a board of directors cannot just produce new stocks. It has to be through the system. The Bitcoin system is by Bitcoin. Oh, okay. So not, but it went up a little bit. Yeah.
But look at the comparisons. Who it's comparing it to.
Oh, NVIDIA.
And.
Bitcoin.
And.
AMD.
And.
And S&P 500 at the bottom. I didn't even see that at the bottom. S&P 500.
Actually, yeah. But here you're talking about AM. And here they're running a comparison.
And they chose Bitcoin.
You said they chose?
Or no. Okay.
They show.
Yeah.
You know, but they're comparing it. But I just find it interesting that, and these are some pretty sharp cookies here.
Yeah.
But that they're comparing it with AMD, and you're apparently I don't really understand it.
Yes.
But you're making some linkage here between AMD and cryptocurrencies or
right.
Bitcoin specifically.
So in terms of disbursement of new coin, in terms of proof of stake, which Ethereum is trying to go to, the disbursement of new coins will go to the people who already have coins. Mm-hmm. In Bitcoin, the way it works, the disbursement of new Bitcoins goes to everyone who's running AMD and NVIDIA hardware. Whoever has NVIDIA hardware and AMD hardware, they just get free, in one sense free, but you have to buy the hardware and run the electricity, free new Bitcoins.
Does it, and it requires that specific hardware, NVIDIA and AMD?
Basically.
And what it does is it solves a puzzle. These like hard, they call them hash rate puzzles, but it literally they use processing power and electricity, solves a puzzle. When you solve the puzzle, it creates a block or a Bitcoin, and then you receive the Bitcoin, and that's how it works.
And technically, it could be other people's systems, but
but they usually combine all the miners together.
AMD is the cheap mass producer, so therefore they're the one. Maybe 90% of Bitcoin.
That's why AMD and some of these actual stocks have gone up.
Yeah,
because
NVIDIA
of Bitcoin mining.
It's creating huge amount of demand for these graphic cards.
Yeah.
Now, once if Ethereum becomes more of a major puller, then Bitcoin won't create such a pull on that market. Now, likewise, just to be clear, all these graphic cards and processors that are used on Bitcoin could be doing other things more productive for society.
Yeah.
And they could just be not spending all that electricity and hardware solving a number. The number's not really, it's not like it requires all these computers to solve it. It's just the way it was set up from the start.
The way the program was set up was to make a puzzle that the CPU has to solve, so you generate coins. So it generates them at a set rate.
So it's not
no benefit.
No value at all.
No benefit at all. It's just set there. This is pretty
much
why
Ethereum wants to get away from that.
Yeah,
because they don't like us using computer processing power for no reason.
Yeah,
and there's actually companies that are about to come out that are saying
a lot of them.
You can rent your computer power to other people to solve actual real problems that people want to solve.
Yeah, so Ethereum right now, I don't know what
it's the same as the Human Genome Project. If you knew about it when it started, you could set your program. You could set a program up on your computer when it wasn't running. You would download it, and then every time you could start it, and it would lend processing power to the Human Genome Project in the world. So it would just solve simple problems over and over and over. And that's what helped us solve the genome.
That's right.
Human genome.
Yeah.
So we just I used to set up all the
computers. That's right. Yeah, that's super
cool.
Yeah.
And we give them all processing power from other computers. That's things they could solve. Computers could solve as a whole instead of making Bitcoin.
Right.
And that's what some companies are actually going to offer in the future is you can rent your computing power to people.
So yeah, in one sense, like Ethereum
You
right
won't
now,
get not a lot of money, but everyone will get money.
yeah, in one sense right now, Ethereum is paying something like $200 million a month to the people who own these computers and are running these computers on Ethereum.
Well, like
but
the
logic
every 4
is,
minutes.
I think it's almost $200 million a month.
Well, it's every 4 minutes.
It's quite a lot of money. It might be $100 million. I think it's closer to $100 million.
You have to do the math.
But so Ethereum's paying $100 million a month to the people who own these computers, which will shortly, 6 months from now, whatever, will go over to people who own Ethereum instead of the computer people. And then also, the amount of money it costs to actually run these computers and own these computers, I assure you, is way less than $60 million a month, or $100 million a month. That's like $1.2 billion a year that they're paying for these computer owners.
$4 million a month.
Yeah, they pay a lot of damn money.
$4 million.
But yeah, so that's something to be aware of, and this is what I think will drive the increase in price of Ethereum.
It could.
It could.
A lot.
Okay, so then
because the more Ethereum you have and you lock it down in a year, you get 10%. Isn't it a whole year?
Yeah, it's
so a year later you get 10%. You get 10%.
It might be 8%. Who knows?
It might be 8% of all the Ethereum you own. You get it.
Yeah.
To your account.
Yeah.
So if you have 100, like if you have like 200, you'll get maybe 18 or 20 Ethereum a year. And maybe that's all you need. If you have so much Ethereum,
in addition to the price increase,
you may just need to hold that to pay yourself money.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah. And then 700 to 800, I was going to talk about. We're talking about Ethereum. That's just various stuff which we've mostly covered.
Yep.
800, which Patrick introduced us on. Patrick did the 800 through 900, which is altcoins, and we'll do more on those.
Yeah.
And then 900 through 1,000, we'll kind of talk about future uses and things that can be done with Bitcoin in the future. So we'll be doing these meetings like this, and for anyone who's, we'll have some more talk after if anybody else has any presentations or topics they want to talk. But just to kind of do an official wrap up in the middle.
Somebody else might have some questions.
Yeah, right. To do an official wrap up in the middle of it, I'll just say, so the point of these meetings, we'll introduce people to topics that they might feel inclined to know about. And if anybody ends up purchasing Ethereum or Bitcoin, that's great. If not, whatever, it's all good. It's just a knowledge conversation. The whole point of these meetings is to have a knowledge conversation. It's $20 for the meeting. Everybody knows that, I think. And then afterwards, we will try to gather some of the most interested people who end up showing up and have additional meetings where we're taking a little bit step further and, everybody making a presentation to kind of see how far we can build our knowledge base as a collective or a group of people in Knoxville. Not primarily so that we can all share money and share our lives together, but primarily so that we can profit from the ideas of other people.
Question: are each of these bullet items, are you anticipating this being like one meeting?
Yeah.
So we're talking about a lot of meetings here.
Potentially.
Okay.
Well, potentially, and I just threw it out there as if, but not.
I mean, some of these
we won't do a meeting on.
Some of these we cannot have to talk too much about. Like
we might cover 1 through 200 in one meeting.
Okay, but we've got 100. We've got 100 bullet points.
Oh yeah, it's 100 bullet points. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some of them we won't go into. Like I don't know how much we need to go into Tor and the darknet.
Darknet.
I understand we can talk about it, but
yeah, we love the darknet.
I know, but I don't see it as relevant to cryptocurrency.
You need to heat up your hot dog again, my friend.
Oh, I'm good. I'm not gonna eat that.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
no offense.
Oh, I'll take it.
Okay, yeah. I'm on a diet.
Oh, okay, all good.
My apology.
No, not a problem, and that's good for you. And the hot dogs are just so cooked is what he's really trying to say. No, I'm just kidding. That's okay.
No, everything's fine. We'll just.
But yeah,
I think we should just maybe next meeting or next time we meet together, we'll figure out
some more stuff.
But I get the picture.
But yeah, so that's why we'll be having quite a few meetings. I'm going to shoot for Monday through Thursday, 5:30 for the initial batch of meetings.
Well, I have some other people that might be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But the real thing is, the biggest thing that I would like to get going, even though we discuss information, is the investment. Maybe we can get the DAO, and I'll be checking that out.
Oh, I'd be all about it.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can get a DAO going.
Investment club.
I heard you, but it's
just a maybe.
All it means is an investment club.
I understand what an investment club is.
Oh yeah. No, but all our money's in it, and then we just click on stuff.
What's the advantage? Now let's just say, actually, you've said what the advantage that I guess what I heard is the advantage of an investing club is that idea of you've got so many of these ICOs coming out, one person really can't.
Correct. And we discuss them, and the other part would be that some people are more risk takers, some people are not, and that's what I'm saying is personalities help mitigate. Some people
it's easy when you're there by yourself, being like I'm going to do everything into this.
You can get kind of lost in the sauce by yourself. And how much we can vote how much we're going to put towards things, and plus we'd have a larger pool of money, and then everyone, if they lost it, would only lose a certain amount of money. You see what I'm saying? I don't think we'd lose that much money, but I also don't like, for me, I'm gonna go all in on some of them on my own.
Yeah.
But also in the club, we'll just do whatever we want.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was saying.
The club will end up being more moderate.
Yes.
And then individually we might be
riskier.
Yeah, spiky.
That's why I'm saying the club would be more moderate. It's handled by the computer, so no one's in control, and it's just voted upon.
And then also, if Patrick learns the code, then that's Patrick who can program in blockchain now.
Well, it's programming in C, but I've done C, but
we're trying to get some multi-sig contracts and that other kind of crap that goes on in the blockchain.
All a multi-sig contract means it takes multiple signatures to complete. That's it. We'd like to have that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had all these, skills and stuff.
I got lots of random skills.
Lots of random skills. That's about right.
I do now, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much like Patrick.
All I knew was medical stuff. And
no, Patrick kind of changes between medical stuff, Ethereum and blockchain, and then tables and chairs. he builds a lot of tables and chairs.
Well, I guess board games too.
And board games, I forgot about board games.
All right, it was good having the meeting.
Okay, yeah. So this will conclude the Midnight Discovery initial meeting.
See you again.
Yes.